leading the way in terms of building that coalition between environmental groups and labor, faith-based groups, community groups. You all have done an amazing job, and I really think that the work that we are doing here, not that I think, I know the work that we are doing here is a model for other cities and counties across the country, and I know that because I've shared that information with my colleagues across the country. They're looking at what we're doing here and what we've accomplished here. I know that sometimes it looks like there's just so much for us to do, and the finish line just keeps getting further and further. But I think we should all, pat ourselves on the back because we have done so much work here. And I know that this has been a 2-year-long process. I want to thank Bill Peduto for his work on this. And I just want to talk for 1 minute about, how city councils work and how the city of Pittsburgh's work actually can impact economic development here in the region. When I was at the White House, I like saying that. When I was at the White House a few weeks ago, one of the speakers was Anish Chopra, who is the Chief Technology Officer for the United States. And he was talking about how the federal government has the strategy for American innovation. And one of the pieces of that was to build capacity for innovation within private industry with government leading the way. And one example he had of that is how the Veterans Administration is the first to use a healthcare electronic records program. And there's 300,000 veterans whose health records are using this program. And it has proven to be successful. And it turns out that Aetna, Walgreens, other private companies are actually taking the lead and using the same specs as the federal government to create a nationwide healthcare system. And I think that, when I heard that example, I immediately thought of the work that we are doing here. Government can be forward-thinking. Government is innovative. You all help us go, where private industry is maybe unwilling or too afraid or perhaps even too busy with the day-to-day to go. So, government is us. It is all of us. And I want to thank you for lending your voices to this process. And you all are also an example of how to advocate and how to be intimate with the legislative process. They always say that making laws is like making sausage. No one really wants to see it. But I